Here's your wrestling news for January 28th, 2023, and we're kicking off with Smackdown as LA Knight has been the unexpected breakout star of his feud with Bray Wyatt and has been able to hold his own against one of WWE's most popular and creative stars. This week saw Knight don Wyatt's cult leader persona, the one fans saw early into Bray's main roster run, but this parody was interrupted by the real Wyatt, who revealed that Uncle Howdy was watching. With tonight being Bray's first televised match, we're confident he'll win the Pitch Black match, but we're also confident that Knight will receive a huge push in 2023 and trust Triple H to make him look good, even in defeat. Smackdown also saw Karrion Kross in action as the former NXT champion lost to Rey Mysterio, which was great since the masked legend has been used like an enhancement talent as of late. This loss for Kross, though, is a subtle indicator that he has dropped down the card and is far from the man poised to become the next undisputed WWE Universal Champion, as many thought he would be when he returned last year. Kross is doing better on WWE's main roster now than in 2021, but to be fair, it would have been a challenge to do worse. But don't be surprised if rumors emerge of backstage executives being unimpressed with him. When Vince McMahon returned to WWE, those in the company were told that nothing would change, but change is seemingly the only thing that can be counted on. McMahon's return has seen his daughter Stephanie resign, as well as the resignation of board members who refused to work with him, and now another name is out the door. PW Insider is now reporting that Matthew Drew has parted ways with the company after serving as its senior vice president of international since June 2021. According to a report, his exit came last week, and Wade Keller of PW Torch adds that this departure wasn't a willing resignation, but that Vince McMahon forced him to resign. He was tasked with growing WWE's brand and business outside of the United States, and also worked with other company leaders to devise WWE's international strategy for live events, digital, consumer products, and new revenue opportunities. Drew is the latest vice president to leave after the resignations of Adam Hopkins and Stephanie Fiandella, both VPs of communication, and it remains to be seen who goes next, or in Drew's case, who's fired next by Vince McMahon. More from Vince McMahon now, and when the executive chairman muscled his way back into a position of power, it wasn't long before Stephanie resigned. Since then, there's been plenty of reports of conflict between the father and daughter, and now there's another layer to this complicated story. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it said that the story going around WWE is that Stephanie resigned because she knew that Vince was going to be back in charge and could see a demotion coming. The story internally as to why Stephanie McMahon really left is that, and this comes from those unhappy that she left, is that she had done a great job thrown into the co-CEO role, and with Vince back, was about to be demoted, and basically, she doesn't need the money or the job, and had already decided last year to take a leave anyway. Of course, the difference between a leave and staying on the board and a full break and leaving the board indicates that this was a lot stronger move. It's been reported that prior to Vince's return, he and Nick Khan, now WWE's sole CEO, had a deal in place to sell WWE, one that would be greatly beneficial to both men. Now Stephanie is gone, but it has been reported that several potential buyers would want to keep her and Triple H around, in stark contrast to reports that only the Saudis would be happy putting Vince McMahon in charge of everything like he was before. Vince McMahon has changed WWE's bylaws, meaning he doesn't need to consult with the board of directors before making major decisions, an act that has earned him multiple legal challenges. Stephanie won't exactly be strapped for cash, as she has made a fortune with her decades as part of WWE, and when you add in the money Triple H is bringing in, the billion-dollar princess will be fine, even if she never returns to WWE. So what is Vince McMahon doing now that he's back? Well, when he returned, it was said that all he wanted to do was oversee a sale of the company. Many were dubious about this claim and simply didn't trust McMahon to keep his word, but in a shocking twist, the executive chairman may actually be telling the truth. In The Observer, it stated that McMahon has not attended any TV tapings or creative meetings since returning, which will come as a relief to those fearing he'd take over from Triple H. Not only that, but it said that McMahon is leaving the office at a normal time now, since his duties have lessened, most notably the long creative meetings. It's also been reported that for tonight's Royal Rumble, the creative has been done by Triple H, Bruce Pritchard, Kevin Dunn, and Michael Hayes, with McMahon giving zero input. There was a time when McMahon would work long into the early hours of the morning at Titan Towers, but that isn't the case now, as the chairman is keeping his word to stay away from creative. As we said, Vince McMahon's return has sparked multiple legal challenges, but these aren't the only litigation the company is dealing with. WWE and MLW have been at odds for some time over allegations that WWE pressured a content distributor to abandon a deal with MLW, and there's another conflict between the two promotions. In The Observer, it said that WWE tried to reach out to MLW talent to appear on this week's Raw, but received a cease and desist letter in return. MLW sources have said that they have sent a cease and desist letter to WWE after the promotion attempted to contact some of its contracted talent to appear on the Raw 30th anniversary show. One would think it would have been members of the Anoa'i and Fatu family for the planned family acknowledgement ceremony, which ended up falling through. MLW sources have said Court Bauer told the talent to have WWE reach out to them directly and didn't say he would allow them to appear just to go through him. They never did, and the segment ended up being cancelled for the reasons noted earlier. WWE didn't respond to questions regarding the cease and desist or the claim. With reports that Afa and Sika weren't ready for the trip and that Rikishi was too sick to appear, WWE was severely limited with how many members of the family could show even before this cease and desist. Given how good the trial of Sami Zayn was, it was certainly the right call for WWE to change their plans, and MLW want no part in working with WWE. We've got some unfortunate news from Hulk Hogan now, who made his return on the Raw is 30 special this week, but his body isn't doing too well. During the Kurt Angle show, the Olympian said he caught up with the Hulkster backstage at Raw and detailed some of the issues Hogan is dealing with. I did speak to Hulk Hogan for a bit of time, for about half an hour, and I also spoke to Undertaker for about a half hour. Those two guys are the two guys that I wanted to catch up with when I went there, so I was very happy to be able to do that. Hogan had his back surgery again. He had the nerves cut from his lower body. He can't feel his lower body, so he has to use a cane to walk around. I thought he was using the cane because he has pain in his back. He doesn't have any pain. He has nothing at all. He can't feel anything. So now he can't feel his legs, so he has to walk with a cane. That's pretty serious, man. I mean, I really feel for Hogan. He put his heart and soul into the business, and it ate him up. Hogan spent decades in wrestling, but that career has caught up with the two-time Hall of Famer, and we hope he's able to relieve some of the pain that he is feeling. More from SmackDown as the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Tournament continued this week, but Drew McIntyre and Sheamus were taken out by the Viking Raiders, who the Europeans had eliminated the prior week. The team of Ricochet and Braun Strowman took their place and defeated Hit Row to advance to the finals, while Imperium dispatched of Legado del Fantasma. Whether Imperium or Strowman and Ricochet wins, it feels like this is just leading to a filler feud for the Usos, who aren't expected to lose their titles this side of WrestleMania. Last night's SmackDown was the go-home episode before the Royal Rumble and saw a rare appearance from Brock Lesnar. On the show, Raw's US Champion Austin Theory and the reigning NXT Tag Champions The New Day made an appearance on the Blue brand, and Theory spoke about his plans to win the Men's Rumble. With The Miz thrown in, it wasn't long until the heels and faces were brawling, and Bobby Lashley arrived to take everybody out. The Almighty cut a promo wherein he said he'll continue to haunt everyone until he wins the Royal Rumble, but he was leveled by an F5 from Lesnar. Not only did Brock get the upper hand, but he also told Lashley he'll see him at the Royal Rumble, and the Beast Incarnate is now one of the 30 superstars in the men's match. Lesnar is a two-time winner, having won in 2003 and last year, and in addition to tossing Lashley over the top rope, Brock will love nothing more than to win his third Rumble match and go on to WrestleMania. As we mentioned, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus are out of the SmackDown Tag Title Tournament, and their time as the Banger Bros is also at an end. It's been confirmed that WWE has dropped this moniker due to its similarity with the adult film company The Bang Bros, who actually have dealt with WWE before. When WWE christened Paige, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch the Submission Sorority in 2015, the Bang Bros commented, thanking WWE for the free advertising for their own series of the same name. We are not sure what name WWE will use for McIntyre and Sheamus next, but with the pair always ready to throw down and fight, we wouldn't be surprised if the Dirty Dudes or Filthy Fellas is WWE's next name. And we're ending with AEW, and it's a real shame that it took the death of Jay Briscoe to convince Warner Bros. Discovery to allow his brother Mark on TV. The Briscoes were banned by WBD from appearing on AEW programming due to homophobic tweets sent by Jay a decade ago, comments he'd apologize for and explain were part of his heel character. It turns out, though, that it wasn't just these tweets that the higher-ups at Warner Bros. Discovery took issue with. As in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer writes that the pair's use of the Confederate flag throughout their careers. Like the tweets, the use of that flag on their ring gear was used by the Briscoes as part of their Southern heel characters, and the pair would say in interviews that did not reflect their actual views. It's been reported that Tony Khan had to push and push for Warner Bros. Discovery to allow this week's tribute show to go ahead, and while Mark will be allowed on AEW TV from here on in, he'll have to be careful from here on.